welcome to Mo's World, the baseball podcast. We're excited to bring you yet another episode where we chat about baseball like a group of friends hanging out at the bar. Your feedback is important to us, so please feel free to share your comments. If you enjoy the podcast, please spread the word to your friends. Also, if you like to follow along, we have created a graphic view of the transcript that can be viewed on our YouTube site. Check it out. In our 18th episode, the Playoffs Part 2, we want to express a big thank you to all our loyal listeners for your ongoing support. And for those that are new here, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy the show. Let's get started. Okay, first, I gotta say, I apologize. It has come to my attention through listeners and comments that something is missing. And I totally agree. I have just fucked up in recent episodes going away from the main idea of the podcast, which is a bunch of friends bullshitting about baseball. Totally correct. So why was my last episode retelling you what happened in the games? Why was I getting into so much detail? Why was I describing the games like a reporter? If you want to know what happened in Game 1, you'll watch MLB Network. You don't need me for that. But if you want to hear another perspective, then you tune in here. So I get it. I'm sorry. This is Mo's World, the baseball podcast. The wild card first round is over. So what was divisional play all about? It was the Royals versus the Yankees in one. And you know what? When I first realized this series, all I could say as a Yankee fan is yes. I'm sure Royal fans were thinking shit. But I get it. I like this series. But if you kind of look at these matchups in both leagues, I think something stands out. Major League Baseball wants a top-tiered team to win this year. It's nice having so many teams trying to get into the wild card, but seriously, I don't think they want these teams to actually win. Hear me out. If the top-tiered teams, that sounds like a tongue twister, get knocked out so early, everyone says, the system sucks. Teams get cold sitting at home a week. It's better off they start playing right away. It's a valid point. But I am sure every team would want a week off after the season to set your rotation, heal some bumps and bruises, and go into the playoffs fresh. Why teams get knocked out early? Well, let's see what happened this year. The Yankees had it easy in setting their rotation, having Garrett Cole go Game 1 and Carlos Rodon go in Game 2. They wanted to win these two games before they had to face Reagans and Lugo, which makes sense to me. The Royals had to start their third starter, but that's how it should be for the wild card. They got to work harder to win. What do you think? Well, Game 1, we saw the Yankees win 6-5, and I got to say, the Yankees look like they really struggled to win this game. When Bobby Witt Jr. goes 0 for 5 and makes no impact, you should win. Yankees won despite poor pitching, and I wasn't really impressed. In Game 2, the Royals came back winning 4-2, and this is what everyone was talking about. Rodon not lasting and getting knocked out, and no hitting from the Yankees. The Royals looked good behind Cole Reagans. I seriously thought that this series was going to go the distance, and it wouldn't have surprised me if the Royals won in 5. Judge, once again, is doing more to enhance his can't-hit and postseason stats, and amazingly, Bobby Witt started at 0 for 10. That's a big wow right there. Game 3 saw the Yanks win 3-2, and you know what, though? The fans in Kansas City have been looking forward to a home game. Now, I like Kauffman Stadium, and during the regular season, I couldn't understand why the Royals were 26th out of 30 teams in attendance, only beating Oakland, Miami, Tampa Bay, and the friggin' White Sox. How is that fucking possible? An average of 20,473 in Kansas City? Are you kidding me? With a team as exciting as this? Kansas City, you better come out in droves. And you know what? You made me proud by having Game 3 a sellout of 40,312. Game 4, 39,012. Seating capacity was 37,903, so it was an easy sellout. That's how you support playoff baseball. Too bad Giancarlo Stanton didn't play along, as the Yankees came out on top on that game. Game 4 saw the Yankees win 3-1, and, this was actually a tough series for me. You guys know I'm a Yankee fan, but I followed the Royals pretty close this year, watching a lot of their games. I like the Royals. The whole makeup of this team was like, fuck you, we're ready. They didn't care how shitty they were last year, and they thought they had a good team in spring training. And they played like it all year long. No matter what anyone says, Bobby Witt Jr. established himself as the best shortstop in the American League, if not the majors this year. Now, I played the game The Streak on the Major League Baseball app this year, and it seemed Bobby Witt went 2 for 4 every freaking game. The Yankees just, they just seemed like, I guess the word is intimidating. I'm thinking of the old Yankee teams where they just plain intimidated their opponents. But today, with today's ball, that just doesn't happen anymore. I did peg this series for 5 games, though, so that did surprise me. In the other divisional series, we saw the Tigers and the Guardians going at it. I mean, if you were a Guardians fan, you had to love Game 1, 7-0 won by the Guardians. But it was an ugly game. Game 2, the Tigers went out and winning 3-0, and the Guardians. There were 2 stories in this game. The dominance of Tariq Skubal this year, and Emmanuel Closet blowing a game and giving up a home run. You could just feel this is a series that was going to be pretty good. And I think Skubal just gives the Tigers so much confidence. Game 3, it was like a repeat. Tigers 3, Guardians nothing. And what seems to be a running consensus with the Guardians, that they always try to disprove that they can't hit enough. After getting shut out for 20 innings in a row during the playoffs, I'd have to agree. Now, Game 4 saw the Guardians score a little, right? Winning 5-4. And talk about a must-win game. David Fry's sacrifice bunt guaranteed Game 5, which the Guardians prevailed 7-3 over Tariq Skubal. He finally looked human, which was too bad for the Tigers as they fell to the Guardians. This was really an awesome series. And once again, seeing 44,885 fans out of a possible 41,083 seats was a standing room only sellout is awesome as seeing that in Detroit. After averaging only 22,942, ranking them 24 out of 30 teams, what's with this attendance? I mean, the Tigers were exciting all year long. And, many people make fun of Comica Park, saying, it's okay, it's nothing special. Bullshit. It's a great-looking stadium, and especially when it's packed to the brim in a playoff game. It really is a shame that all fans cannot experience the excitement of a playoff game. It really is, it's special. The Tigers? Jesus. Who expected this? Let's just say it now. A.J. Hinch was the perfect selection to be this team's manager. His approach and training of players is showing now for sure. The Tigers are a pretty young team and will return. They're currently the 4th youngest team in Major League Baseball at 26.7 years of average age. It's kind of cool that they are playing the youngest team in baseball this year, as the Guardians' average age is only 26.1. And if you're curious about the other teams in the playoffs, the Dodgers are the old men at 30.3 years old, and they hope to play the second old team in the next round, which were the Mets at age 30. The youngsters of the American League against the old guys of the National League. The Yankees sit in the middle of the pack at 16th age of team at 28 years old. Baseball is currently young, you know? The average age in all of baseball for a player is in the 26 to 30 age, so that's a good sign. But the Guardians prevailed, they won the series, and prevailed is really the perfect way to describe this series. The Guardians are going to have to score more against the Yankees. So, how did that pan out? Next series, the American League Championship, Game 1. So the Yankees take that one 5-2 over the Guardians, and the Guardians' inept catching of Bo Naylor. Once again, this piece of shit framing on one knee. It's a joke. When is everybody going to wake up? When is Major League Baseball going to wake up that this framing on one knee is bullshit? It really cost the Guardians Game 1. There's no doubt about that. Well, Game 2 saw the Yankees win 6-3. Hey, wow, Judge homers and Cole stays strong, just enough. Game 3, the Guardians came back 7-5 as the Yankees come within 1 out of taking a 3-0 lead, and the Guardians came back for the win. Game 4 saw the Yankees win 8-6 as they hung on for the win behind the hot bat of, believe it or not, Giancarlo Stanton. And Game 5 was a 5-2 win as Soto again saved the day with a late 3-run home run. You know, I was unsure of this series. Like I've said before, I am just not sure what Yankee team will show up in any given game. They are so inconsistent. And even now, you know, this late in the season, you would think these teams would have their act together. But they're still making base running errors and looking like shit on some plays. I just keep saying it over and over. But are you serious about this fucking framing on one knee catching? You know, after it cost the Guardians Game 1 with all those wild pitches, I think it was more the fact that Bo Naylor can't block a pitch to save his life. I'm not surprised over this Game 1 win, and Rodon did his job, and the Yankees should have won 10-2 with some timely hitting. But it's a shame, though, that Aaron Judge was non-existent once again. I was really hoping he could redefine his career in the postseason this year. But so far, it's been pitiful. The Yankees cannot miss the opportunity of a win in Game 2. And, you know, Garrett Cole, as they did come out on top, now they were up 2-0 going into Cleveland. That's what they were shooting for as the series moved there. I was curious, though, if the Guardians were going to pack their park. Now, through the years, they've been reducing seating in Progressive Field, as it seats only 34,830 fans now, as opposed to 42,865 when it first opened in 1994. Game 3 had 32,531. Game 4 had 35,263. You know, Game 5 was very similar as well. So it's not bad, Cleveland. This is far removed, though, from the 455 consecutive games, sellouts at Jacobs Field from June 12th, 1995 to April 4th, 2001. Now, you know what, though? What's an unbelievable streak was, you know, by the way, not to be outdone, the Dayton Dragons have the sellout record at 815 consecutive games in history. 11 and a half seasons of selling out their 7,230-seat Fifth Third Field Stadium That's some incredible fans in Ohio for these teams. Now, 1948 was the last World Series champion for the Guardians, so, they were hoping that this could be the year. But Giancarlo Stanton? All you can say is, WTF. I mean, how does he go from a conversation with fans trying to figure out how the Yankees can dump him during the season to the MVP of the playoffs? Now, Stanton is putting together a playoff run this year that could be his best of his career. It's amazing how he is on track in these playoff games. For a guy who averages a strikeout 1 out of 3 at-bats, he put together a streak of 27 postseason at-bats with 0 strikeouts. Now, that's impossible, you would think, for him, right? Now, he's led his team surprisingly so far this postseason. And, it's funny about the media. Stanton has a nice stretch of production, and everyone's talking about Stanton as the future Hall of Famer. Are you freaking kidding me? That's a stupid comment. You have to catch my Hall of Fame voting podcast that'll be debuting on November 29th to get my perspective on Hall of Fame voting. Now, moving on to the next round of playoffs, we've got the National League divisional games between the Mets and Philadelphia. Now, when this series was determined, I knew it would be a good one. These two teams, they don't like each other. They hate each other. And in playoff baseball, you got to love that. They both have great fan bases, and the atmosphere of both stadiums did not disappoint. The Mets entered the series as the hotter team for sure. And here we are with the division winner facing a hot opponent. That's the recent trend of playoffs of late. So what happened there? Mets took game 1 6-2. Another comeback win for the Mets. Game 2 saw the Phillies take it 7-6 as they hung on to win this game as the Mets threatened late. Game 3 saw the Mets win 7-2 as they cruised to a win in this game. And then game 4, the Mets 4, Phillies 1, series clinching win with a great effort by Jose Quintana. Now, it doesn't hurt to have Francisco Lindor smoke a grand slam to clinch the win. Now, this series produced everything we thought between these two teams. The only surprising thing to me was the dead vibe from the Phillies. The bullpen looked like the Joe Girardi bullpen, and the clutch hitting was non-existent. That combo usually equals a lost series, so no surprise there. The Mets continue to be the hot team. The Phillies must have thought, yes, no friggin' Braves to deal with. This is our year. And I think the Mets probably said the exact same thing. The Mets look good this series. They put it all together. And now they head to California to play the Dodgers, who got the best of the Padres. Speaking of which, game 1 saw the Dodgers win 7-5 over the Padres. And, that was a big win, from the Dodgers setting the tone. But I guess it wasn't that big because the Padres bounced back and took game 2, 10-2 over the Dodgers. Game 3 saw Michael King ride the Padres' 6-run second inning for the win at 6-5 over the Dodgers. Game 4, surprisingly, the Dodgers kicked their ass 8-0. When the Dodgers win, they win. And then game 5, the Dodgers 2-0, another shutout. Shutout clinching win for Yamamoto. It's a classic way to end a tough series. I think most people were looking forward to seeing big names in Dodger Blue continue on in the playoffs. The big three of the Dodgers may not have had a great series, but the Dodgers' depth really showed here. They will need that as they take on the Mets in the next round, which is the National League Championship. Now, game 1 right away saw the Dodgers. They wanted to make a point. Damn, they really made a statement with this game, winning 9-0, saying, we don't care how hot you are. All Dodgers and a 9-0 victory. Game 2 saw the Mets basically say, screw you, and they won 7-3, which was a nice comeback in a 7-3 win. Game 3 saw the Dodgers blow out the Mets again, 8-0. And game 4, the Dodgers blew them out again, 10-2. One win away from a World Series trip. But the Mets didn't want anything of it in Game 5. They came back, and they don't give up as they won 12-6, which brought us to Game 6. Mets 5, Dodgers 4, and it's all tied up 3-3. You know, something about a New York versus Los Angeles series. The Mets are truly a challenge for the Dodgers. Now, you can't say small market versus large market in this series. I mean, geez, with the Mets' $318 million payroll against the Dodgers' feeble $241 million one, it's hard to believe that this is all the Dodgers' payroll really is. I believe all the Mets needed to do in LA was split, taking the series back to Citi Field tied 1-1. But Mark Vientos, holy cow, he's banging this series, making people recognize his name. He reminds me of another New York star in the postseason who didn't really have much of a regular season, but boy, bring the playoffs on and he turned it up. Remember the name Jim Leyritz? He had a way of being clutch in the postseason, but shit during the regular year. Now, you know, this series was really wild. The offensive strength of the Dodgers is impressive, but the Mets hang in there. You know, it kind of reminded me of an old-time series from 1960 World Series. The Pittsburgh Pirates defeated the New York Yankees in the World Series that year. Despite the Yankees destroying the Pirates in 3 winning games by scores of 16-3, 10-0, and 12-0. But the Pirates won Game 7 and the series with a 10-9 win, even though they were outscored 55-27. Damn. The Dodgers look like the 1960 Yankees, except for one difference. They won. So now we've got the classic Los Angeles Dodgers versus New York Yankees. It's a classic matchup, right? And you know for a fact that the networks and MLB are sitting in their offices praying to the gods. 7-game series, 7-game series. After the past few smaller market teams advancing through the playoffs, this matchup will be highly watched. We really have not had a top-tiered matchup since the 2018 World Series between the Red Sox and the Dodgers. And the Red Sox kicked their ass 4-1 in that series. So we all know the history between the Yankees and the Yankees and the Dodgers. So it should be interesting. My prediction, honestly, I just don't know. You know, I keep saying this about the Yankees, but they always have the potential to be as dominant and potent in their offense as the Dodgers have shown. But it doesn't always show up. So, I don't know. Abuse me later. I'm thinking Dodgers in 6. Now, just like in the American League Championship game, the Yankees will be looking for Garrett Cole to win in Game 1 as vital. I don't really see the Yankees competing if Judge doesn't show up in this series. Major redemption here is available, and this is why you want to be in this position, to lead your team to a Dodger win. So Game 1 is tonight. Let's see what happens at Dodger Stadium. It'll be packed. The lowest rated TV World Series was last year against the Texas Rangers versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. They had a 4.7 rating and a 14 share. I do not see that happening again. Curious? The highest rated TV World Series was in 1978 between the New York Yankees versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. A 32.8 rating and a 56 share. Can this series be the highest rated one in TV? Possible. Let's check it out, right? Now, I hope you enjoyed our 18th episode of Mo's World, the Baseball Podcast. Friday, November 8th, 2024 is our next release date, as we will be moving to 2 podcasts per month. The first Friday of the month and the last Friday of the month. This way, you can still get your fill of football as I keep your ear, hopefully, for a little bit in the off-season. Now, we've got some great episodes coming up this off-season with the Hall of Fame, general managers on the hot seat, Hall of Fame voting, and many, many more. So thank you for listening, and please spread the word to your friends. Don't forget, Our next episode will be on the World Series and the 2024 recap, debuting on Friday, November 8th. In the meantime, ask yourself, whose world is it? It's Mo's world.